So if you've been living in the Philippines for any amount of time, you're probably going to relate well to what I'm about to talk about. And if you're planning to move to the Philippines, well, this is going to be some good advice to chew on. And I've said many times that the best lessons are most often learned the hard way. And I'll be transparent, I'm still learning. Now, this one is important. So I'm going to ask you to stick with me till the end, and you'll see why I think it's so important. Welcome back to the G5 Philippines channel. I hope you're having a great day. I am sitting out here. It's about 8 a.m., so it's a little beyond sunrise, but a little overcast. I love this time of morning, despite it being very muggy. But anyway. And if you haven't already, be sure to do the whole subscribe, like, share, comment thing, and yeah, all that. So if you follow my channel, you might have heard me talk recently about my self-imposed attitude adjustment that I've been working on the last few months, particularly when it comes to dealing with life's little frustrations that can blindside us or throw at us, whatever. But a few days ago, I had an experience that really pushed this attitude adjustment. I started to say to its limits. I don't want to use that term, but it really, I think more than anything, it's just got me thinking about stuff. And it was just a simple thing. I was just trying to get my car checked up, something I've done countless times over the past 7 years. But somehow this time it turned into something much bigger that's had me wondering, are we as foreigners the actual reason why some Filipinos might be getting fed up with us? So I'm going to share a comment that I received on my very last video a couple of days ago, and I'm just going to quote it. As a Filipino, I appreciate your effort in using your channel to educate your audience before they even make the final move to the country. To us, it is important that the people who choose to relocate here understand what they're getting into. The Philippines is not easy to navigate. It's not for everybody, and certainly not for the weak. I see a lot of comments on Philippine vlogs from foreigners, and I'm not liking what I'm reading. Constant complaining, bashing, and hating the country for what it is. Yes, we have a lot of flaws and inefficiencies, but we are a work in progress. But the negativity, the toxicity will pull us down further. The discouragement, the insults, they don't help. The last thing we need right now is the destructive criticism we constantly get from foreigners who act and speak like they know this country better. And we need vloggers like you to spread this message. Now, keep in mind the timeline. This comment came after the incident that I'm about to share with you, but I just wanted to speak to that. He and I had a couple of exchanges prior to this comment, but I really appreciated him or her sharing this, this message, because, I think it's a little bit of a wake-up call for us, who are guests in the Philippines, living here. So let's get into it. Here's what happened. So early in the morning, after dropping off the kids at school, I headed over to the car mechanic because the transmission in the car has been acting weird for a little while. I don't think it's anything serious, but it's definitely something I want to deal with to avoid a potential bigger problem or worse, getting stranded. But when I got there, I found out that they were fully booked for the month. Apparently they're backlogged due to another location being closed. Well, this ain't good because we have an important trip coming up and I really need to get it checked out sooner than later. I felt kind of befuddled. I kind of didn't know what to do. It's not like I can just go down the street to the next shop. So as I was getting ready to leave, I got the idea to stop by and speak to the shop manager, hoping they could squeeze me in sooner, or at least, let's figure something out. And, as they say, never hurts to ask, right? So this is part of what I, after the fact, unfortunately, am coming to realize. As foreigners, and I'm going to insert I here, me, I can sometimes get caught up in trying to fix things the way I'm used to fixing things back home, thinking that, logic and reason will surely, solve the problem. And while that can and usually work back in the U.S., the Philippines has its own way of conducting things. So let's not forget the comment that pointed out how foreigners sometimes come across as spoiled brat complainers, crybabying about the situation or whatever. And so in my attempt to present my case, I sort of walked right into that mindset without even realizing it. Rewind for a second. After waiting an hour for the shop manager to arrive, I was waved in by the security guard, exchanged all of the courteous greetings with the manager, who speaks fluent English, by the way, and she's always been polite and professional. Then proceeded to present my concern. There's another YouTuber that used to call these first world concerns, and that's kind of true. But anyway, I explained the issue with my transmission, hoping they could squeeze me in earlier than scheduled, or, especially with my trip coming up. I figured, they'll understand the urgency and maybe offer a solution to get it checked out sooner. She did offer a few practical solutions, like, calling me if any cancellations come up, which, by the way, I gave her my information, or suggesting a 3-hour round trip to another shop that might be able to fit me in, or might be able to fix the problem. I don't know. And here's where I obviously went wrong. And you're gonna roll your eyes, but I pushed back. I pressed too hard, trying to offer solutions like paying a little extra for after hours work, or suggesting that they prioritize my car since the issue has, been ongoing. One thing I need to mention here is she's not gonna risk losing her job, to make special allowances for me, especially if it could, lead to consequences. The thing is, she's just doing what she can, and I respect that. And to her, I'm sure I was sounding like one of those complainers in the comment. Now, in hindsight, hindsight's 2020, that was the exact moment I should have realized that I was making the classic foreigner mistake. Here I was, and I wasn't trying to be difficult at all. I was just asking for a bit of flexibility, submitting what I believed was a truly reasonable request, but I really should have known that I was pushing for something that just plain wasn't going to happen. I don't blame her. It's not like anything is her fault, nor was anything my fault either. I was just simply trying my best to work out a solution. But looking back, I can see how, from her perspective, I was probably sounding argumentative and just coming across as another foreigner who's not getting his way. All right, so this is where the conversation took the unexpected turn. And understandably, she was beginning to lose her patience with me, though I will say she remained perfectly professional. And while I'm still pushing for a solution, she said something that really stopped me dead in my tracks.
Sir, if I may offer some unsolicited advice, things in the Philippines do not always go the way they do in the U.S. So if you don't like it here, you should just go back to your home country.
Whoa. That hit me square between the eyes and really shut me up. I had never been offered that kind of advice before. And to be honest, I was a little bit flabbergasted. And all I managed to say was, you'd rather I leave than try to work this out? But thankfully, before she could respond, somebody came up and, was asking her a question. So at this point, I took the opportunity and waved, "Salamat," and I walked away with my tail nicely tucked between my legs. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that for her, it wasn't just about this one situation. It's actually a bigger issue, and I think a lot of us foreigners, we innocently overlook it. After living here for 7 years, I've learned that no matter how long I'm here, no matter how much I try to integrate, I'm gonna always be seen as an outsider. And I understand that it's nothing personal. It's really just about the cultural differences that, that run deep. In the Philippines, the same as us, they have a strong sense of family, community, and tradition. So to them, I don't speak their language. I don't necessarily try to understand or adopt their ways. So in their minds, I'm gonna always be the foreigner. A lot of my Filipino family accept me as their sister's, daughter's, cousin's husband, but typically I am referred to as her foreign or American husband. That's just the reality. Whether it's the way we handle problems or the expectations we bring from our own expectations, there's always this underlying awareness that we're different. Sometimes without even meaning to, we can end up perpetuating the very stereotypes we should be trying to overcome. And for all of us watching right now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're probably saying, man, you need to quit worrying about all that. Or, hey, you chose to move here, so how can you complain? And guess what? You're absolutely right. I've literally said the same thing 100 times. But being human, I still sometimes manage to step outside of myself and end up looking like a bit of a donkey's rear end, to put it nicely. The truth is, as much as we hope to fully integrate, the reality is that we'll always be seen as the foreigners. It doesn't matter if we've lived here for a year or a decade. It's just a mindset that's not going to change. So what's the moral of this story? If you're thinking about moving here or you're already living in the Philippines, let's just embrace the differences and try not to fight it. We need to approach life here with humility and a sense of humor, because even when we think we've got it all figured out, the Philippines is going to find a way to surprise us. And let me just say this, arguing is almost never going to get you the kind of results that you want. So, thanks for watching, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever found yourself in a similar situation? And then how do you handle moments when you feel like the outsider? Let's keep this conversation going, and maybe together we can all learn to adjust a little better. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.